you know.
Very nice.
So I really appreciate it. I mean, I've had listeners who've come to me like, Nate, I support you so much that I want to put this in your hand.
Right.
And when you got people that's making that kind of commitment toward you, you have to respect that. And you got to honor that. You got to, you know, I got to live up to that.
Right.
So, again, I've just been blessed, and it goes back to just the way I conducted myself for all those years. People heard me, people saw me, and they must have felt me as well. Because now that I'm doing it online, you know, I've been able to stay connected with some people here in the city. Again, I'm just blessed by that. I really appreciate it.
Right. Yeah, so X Squad, a lot of us actually are on the Stewart Media and Entertainment Network, the SME Network, which is ran by Doug Stewart. This show actually also broadcasting through there as well. But Fridays, Doug of the Doug Stewart Show he calls it the Friday, well, it's not tithing, but basically lets us know that, hey, he's doing it for free. He don't make an income. You know, and if you want to generously donate to the show, you can. And in
right.
turn,
I've heard him.
He'll do a T-shirt or whatever to you, you know, based upon, you know, whatever it is that you want to freely give. But that, you know, it's pretty awesome. You know what I'm saying? You know, when you jump into this, when you leave terrestrial commercial radio and you're doing this, you know, it has to be some kind of outside of the fact that you love doing it. Because me, I love doing this, but, you know, this ain't even my day job. I make not a penny on it. So my wife's upstairs, you know, she's like, he's down there doing that hobby again. But, you know, it's like at some point in time, it's got to turn the corner and make sense. It makes sense for what you're doing and, you know, in the family. And although you're not getting paid, there's still some kind of, at some point in time, it's going to have to make sense to, you know, to build and grow upon. I use those terms. Let me see. So another thing I want to speak to you about, and that was after the break. You know, we had a couple things that we talked about, but I wanted to jump into the issues, and because you are a very, you know, strong political figure there in Cincinnati as well. To your listeners, they listen to you and get a variety of social, engaging, and political opinions from you. So I want to talk about a couple of things here. One is your opinion on this upcoming presidential race here. You have crazy Trump, and you have Clinton. And a lot of people say it's the lesser of two evils going with Clinton. That's what the word is. So you got some people say they ain't going to vote, or they going to vote for this third party candidate, which, in my opinion, no vote or voting for this third party candidate is probably a win for Trump. What's your thoughts on that?
My thoughts on it, man, is that, man, I'll put it to you like this, KC, man. It's like, I'm sorry, KC. It's like, to me, the biggest commentary about the upcoming election is the fact that we do need third parties. And I disagree with you in the sense that it's necessarily a vote for Trump. And I don't think that a third party candidate is going to win this year. You just don't have the support. Okay. And that's because the Republican Party and the Democrat Party on the surface, they can't agree on anything. But every 4 years, they come together and they conspire against third-party candidates. That's part of the reason why when they have the nationally televised debates, you never see third-party candidates. Because they set these rules in a way in which they know that the hurdle is just too high for them to jump to in order to meet the qualifications to get on television. And in the modern-day era, you're not going to win the presidential election without being on television. So Gary Johnson, Jill Stein, it's more, for the folks who vote for them, it's more of a philosophical vote. Right. But I agree with it. I think that you should vote wherever your heart is. I mean, if philosophically you believe that you identify more with Gary Johnson or Jill Stein, even though Gary Johnson doesn't know a whole lot about foreign leaders, then you should do that. And my hope would be that perhaps in the near future, maybe 4 years from now or 8 years, 16 years from now, third parties will rise to the level where they can challenge the Democrats and Republicans because they need to be challenged. After going to the RNC, I can tell you these Republicans are absolutely out of their minds. You got white women who are willing to embrace misogyny. They're willing to embrace racism, xenophobia, isolationism, all in the effort to just get the black fella out of the White House and the Blackfellas Party. I'm talking about Barack Obama and the Democrats. My problem with it is, though, because Donald Trump is such a bad candidate, that it seems like he's making it easy for Hillary Clinton. I mean, it's like, hey, vote for me because Donald Trump's so crazy. And she's right. But I wish it was more of a competition of ideas, more of a competition of what they're actually going to do for the people, what they're going to do for Black America, rather than perhaps the first female president versus the guy who we know that we don't want to be president. You know what I'm saying? Because neither one of them are specifically talking about the issues that matter to our children.
Right.
Like in the last debate, they said nothing about children, daycare. You got a lot of parents out there that are working every single day, but they really can't afford daycare, but they make too much money to afford government assistance. That's a problem. The cost of education in this country, that's a problem. Black wealth building is a big theme on our show because that's what we need. That should be the next level of conversation. That's the next level of the civil rights fight. So that's how I feel about it. I mean, Trump, absolutely not. But it's a shame that the Democrats don't have more of a challenger, because if they were having a better debate, then we, the people, would have a better option. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
So.
And the crazy thing is when you look, because there's a couple podcasts of Republicans on Spreaker, and they're Black, and as I listened to this guy, and his points kind of made sense, and I'm like, man, he had good points, but I'm like, I share some common views with Republicans. I also share some common views with Democrats. So, and I believe everybody does. You know what I mean? There's some things, you know what I'm saying? At one point, we were just going and aligning ourselves with Democrats based upon our race. But then there's some elements that the Republicans do bring to the table, and there's still a lot of stuff that we don't agree. But it's based upon what it is that works for you. You know what I'm saying? And maybe that third party candidate does, bring that. But I noticed that there's a lot of Republicans not on board with this Trump, nomination here. So they are, I think, either they're not voting or they're not. Or they're going with Gary Johnson or whoever else, they have, stored up. But it's interesting.
That's a huge problem with the Republican Party, man, because they completely ignored Black people. Like, I've talked to the Hamilton County chairperson here in Hamilton County, the Republican, right? And I told him to his face, like, there are Black people who are Republicans. There are Black people who there are certain elements in the Republican Party they agree with, but you don't invest any time in trying to address. You do no outreach whatsoever. Sorry, but Ben Carson is not outreach to the Black community. We don't give a damn about no damn Ben Carson.
Right.
Omarosa, while very attractive, is not outreach to the Black community. Nope. So they're not making any realistic efforts and inroads in trying to carve out policies that would attract Black people's votes. Okay? And then on the Democrat side, again, you got a lot of good, smart, intelligent people, but it seems like over the decades, even their support has fallen short in terms of our communities. I'm talking about the Black communities.
Right.
Yeah,
that's true.
So the way I look at it is this. I don't think that the last 8 years of the Barack Obama administration have been everything they could have been. But a lot of that, I have to blame that back on the electorate. I got to blame that back on the people, because 2008, people came out in record numbers. Record numbers. Everybody was in love with the idea of the first Black family.
Right.
And then 2 years later, when you had the midterm elections, you're talking about elections for governor, you're talking about elections for Congress, you're talking about elections for Senate, people stayed home. So you put this Black man in the White House, and then he was surrounded by enemies. 2010 was the rise of the Tea Party. And I've been telling Black folks in the city and my listeners ever since then, if they can do it, why can't we? If they can come together on the grassroots level, coalesce on a few issues, although I thought none of it made a lot of sense because it was too much anti-Obama. It should have been more anti-Bush.
Yes.
Because he basically tried to destroy the entire universe, in my opinion. But if they can do that with the Tea Party, then why can't Black people do it? But meanwhile, you got too much of a percentage of the Black population is running around talking about they don't believe in voting, and they're getting caught up with the politics of nostalgia. They want to march around City Hall, but they don't understand that if you want to move City Hall, you got to have somebody inside of City Hall to actually make those decisions for our benefit.
Right.
So that's the reality of it. Barack Obama would have been much more successful if all the people that came out in 2008 would have came out in 2010 and put in friendly congressmen and women who actually wanted to work with him. Same thing happened 4 years later after he was reelected to the second term. So we got to understand that it's not enough just to come out and vote during the primary election, the presidential election. It matters who is in Congress, and we saw that.
Right. That is true. That is true. A shout out to my man Daryl Carpenter, who actually joined us. Big up, Daryl.
What up, Daryl? Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Team and I.
Team and I's in the building. There's a lot of comments here, man. So I'm trying to get through these issues here because everybody's going in. You know, they got a lot of comments and questions and everything. We'll see if we can get to them. But my next thing here, outside the presidential race, and we speak a lot about this on your show, is your thoughts on Kaepernick and his protest in the national anthem.
Oh, that brother's beautiful. That's a beautiful brother right there. Just in terms of what he did. Now, is he Muhammad Ali? No. But no one's asked him to be Muhammad Ali. He's Colin Kaepernick. That's a junior right there letting the world know. I always say, whatever I don't do, my children will pick up the spear and finish for us. But Colin Kaepernick, man, one of the best things that Colin Kaepernick has done is he's allowed us to judge other people out there because everybody's had an opinion about him. And, people like Shaq. I mean, how you going to be 7'2", 500 pounds, you ain't got no heart whatsoever? He completely punked out, went on Fox News talking about, I wouldn't have did that. Well, what would you have done, Shaq?
Yes.
And then that's one of the most interesting things is that, he started a debate. He's really started a Cincinnati. We got a high school called Withrow High School, Cincinnati. A lot of African Americans go there, and American brothers, and they decided they was going to take a knee. There was a white, I believe, a soccer player. I believe he goes to a school in Hyde Park. That's a suburb here in Cincinnati. He decided he was going to take a knee. So what Colin Kaepernick has done with his courage, and again, I appreciate brothers and sisters with courage in these days and times, because there's so many people punking out for a paycheck, is he's forcing people to take a side. I've been calling out the Bengals because none of the Cincinnati Bengal players have stood up. I think in the last games, Ray Maluga, I believe, somebody told me he lifted a fist. Well, props to Ray Maluga. Well, what about all those other brothers down there? And I know many of them may not have been born and raised in Cincinnati, but damn it, you play in Cincinnati now, and it says something about you. So I think it's been beautiful. I applaud Colin Kaepernick and all those brothers that's putting big endorsement dollars on the line to say enough is enough when it comes to police brutality.
Right. All right, NBA season coming up. Lack of support or lack of protesting from one of our major NBA stars, which is LeBron James, who said that he will not be protesting. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, man, I've been a LeBron James supporter because he, as I've always said, he was born under the same sun as me. He's a son of Ohio, and that's my son. He's a son of Ohio, and when he went to Miami, I know a lot of people in Cleveland jumped off the bandwagon, but I understood it. No, son, I used to do that. I told you that's my little boy. I got him today. Here you go. There you go.
He had a lot to say about that.
Give me 1 second, KC. Yeah, he's like me. He wants what he wants, but nah, Daddy can't. You can't have that, son.
Hey, you got to. He likes talking, man. He's a talk show host in the making.
Yeah. But no, absolutely not. You can have this though. Give me 1 second. Babies is all important. There you
That's
go.
cool.
Now he's pacified.
We got a shout out. We got DJ Nunu, MCDE, who has joined us, and my man Chief Rocker Jersey Vern has made it in here. Welcome. He has his own show. That's the recap shows he has on Monday and Wednesday at 3 o'clock, and he also is one half of the Bottom to the Top show, and also Eat, Sleep, Grind, and Repeat show.
I got them together, man. So back to the question about LeBron. I mean, honestly, I'm disappointed. But I got to measure my disappointment in saying that LeBron is his own man. He's got a family. He's got his own career goals, and I can't tell another man what to do with their celebrity. But I was disappointed. I was disappointed when LeBron James was wearing the I Can't Breathe T-shirt, and I'll tell you why. For folks who don't know, that was the last words of Eric Gardner, who was